Hey, welcome to Ice Age TV Part 2 Day Travels of Speed. The Speed Demons. Yeah, hey, we're in the Ford F-150 Lightning truck, and we're heading to get the Ford Maverick Carbonized Gray. And I've got Joe here next to me that enjoys the F-150 Lightning truck. You know, what's pretty neat is he lives in this thing. I mean, he lives in this thing. How many miles are on this thing?
4150.
All right. Do you even know the day you took this over?
I mean, it hasn't been 2 months yet, though. I know that.
Yeah. So, well, it hasn't been because the tag hasn't expired yet. The temporary tag.
It's 11/11, I think.
Right. So now for Joe, who literally works and lives out of this truck, I just try to get this good eye. For me, it's nice to hear others' views and opinions. So what's the real mileage on this extended range truck, would you say? What's the reality of real world?
If you're highway, I would say if you're like 2/3 highway, 1/3 like in city driving, I'd say you're gonna get 270, 280. But I haven't seen 300 really yet.
What is the maximum? Do we even know?
330 is what they talk from the factory.
I thought it was like 370 or 350.
See, I thought it was 330. And
it's a 131 kilowatt battery, right?
Yeah.
Is that what it is, or 134?
And they say you basically get 2 miles per kilowatt.
Right.
So you equate that to, it's 262 right there. So.
Right. So the only way you're going to get the 300 plus is if you're just driving and stop and go traffic.
That, and if you're just really, if you keep it under 40, 45, all day long. I noticed that I get much closer to 3 kilowatt or 3 miles per kilowatt, but. Other than that, like if you're in the highway in the left lane pack going 75, 80, it's 1.92 all day long, because you just don't have the aerodynamics of what you would have a Tesla or anything, a Leaf or whatever alternative electric.
Yeah, but I noticed right now you've got you're doing the adaptive cruise.
Yeah.
Do you use that a lot?
Adaptive cruise all the time. I wouldn't trust the hands-free for anything.
What about the one pedal driving?
One pedal driving, nothing but that. But I do notice you will, and I think a lot of people don't know this, is like it's kind of a nuisance for people behind you that don't know, that not only don't know the one pedal driving, but just the sheer, you got to remember that as soon as you take your foot off the gas, you got brake lights. So it's not like a gas car where you're just coasting. It's just like, so if you got you can really cause some disruption in the back.
So like a brake check, people think you're brake checking them?
Yeah, exactly, constantly. Just if you're taking your foot off the gas, people will think, will and can think that you're brake checking,
or
that you're coming to a stop.
Yeah, but your program states a gas pedal.
Oh, exactly. Well, your accelerator, I guess it should be called.
Yeah, and that's something. So it's just such a common word of, you've been brought up in this world, you push the gas pedal, now you push the accelerator pedal.
Yeah.
Right? But Joe here has got a great point, and I didn't know this until I think he followed me, or no, I think he drove in Mach-E. He's like, this one pedal driving is really cool, but the downside is, so the one pedal driving, what that means is the vehicle uses the wheel motors to slow down. So as you're driving down the road and you let off the accelerator, your wheel motors are regenerating energy to recharge the battery, so that slows you down. It isn't braking the car, it's just the wheel motors are slowing down. The brakes aren't being applied per se.
Yeah, your motors become generators instead of motors.
Right. So, but what happens with that is the brake lights come on. So even though you think you're just coasting down the road, when you let off the accelerator pedal, unbeknownst to you, your brake lights are on. So the person behind you thinks you're some old fart. Yeah, don't take it the wrong way. Everybody's my age, right? Yeah, the people think that you're just some, person that's confused and lost, and borderline, it can create the person behind you that thinks that you're playing with them, that you're intentionally slowing down and braking your car. Yes. I mean, it's just incredible where the technology is. So you just got to remember,
kind of like, you really don't need to take it, and it is good. I mean, and with the adaptive technology, I mean, even if you are even if you don't even bother to touch the brakes, it will stop for you. I haven't seen it not stop. There's a couple of times where you can set the programming to be low, medium, or high, but the crash avoidance is extremely apparent. It's there. It's always there in the background, watching and waiting. So the use.
Well, what do you mean by that? So you're saying when you come up to to somebody stopped, the adaptive cruise on,
if this
it
guy
automatically will stop for you.
Well, not only that, but if I'm not in adaptive cruise and this guy in front of me were to put his right turn signal on, I'm sitting here talking to you and I'm not paying attention, he's turning right here just to pull off for some stupid reason, I don't see that, it's going to go beep, 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 beep,
oh yeah, so you don't have the vehicle.
And it actually, it does, I haven't seen it or have it had happen to me yet, but it does in the settings say that it will take the control of the wheel somewhat to avoid hitting the car in front of you or next to you. I haven't experienced that yet, but I'm sure within time we just do laps around the beltway that there's always someone trying to get you or doesn't see you or just clueless
or
to the surroundings.
The boxing glove comes out of the middle of the steering wheel and pops you in the face to wake you up.
There you go.
That'll be the next thing. Well, or the hand comes out and slaps you around to wake you up, you know.
Well, unlike the Chevys that like shake your butt around.
Yeah, I know, that's the worst.
This one will just start brake checking you for real if you're not paying attention. All
right, so now as far as the truck goes, what's the biggest thing that aggravates you about this vehicle? Is there anything that just sticks in your head that's like he's just like, oh man, just terrible? Anything, or is it pretty good?
Not really. Nothing's terrible. I mean, the interior, they took the interior out of what they knew and they've tested of the traditional F-150 and just threw it in here. Actually, I did notice that this has a couple extra pockets and like the doors and such than the even the Super Duties do and the other F-150s do that I haven't seen. Maybe on the 2022 F-150s they're in there, but they definitely didn't have this like extra third pocket in the door on the 2021s. And in the rear there's a ton of storage, including the extra little water pocket or whatever grab hold that makes it very easy to close the door.
Right.
I don't know what that is, but that's a little different too. So there's some minor interior touches, but
yeah.
I mean, the technology is always kind of probably the downside of these.
All right, so here's a question. If you could have a Rivian or F-150 truck, and for what you kind of do in your life, and which would you take?
I mean, I haven't driven the Rivian, so I have no idea to compare it to. I haven't even really sat in the Rivian, so I couldn't really say. But I think this just from just the specs and from just the walk around, this makes a better work truck. Straight out the gate. Could you adapt the Rivian to be a pretty decent work truck with some pull-out slides and such? Yeah, but you can just drive this off the lot, and especially with that one thing I love that you got like in your Raptor that you put in that little in the bed little fold out toolbox.
Yeah,
I mean theoretically. You can have one of those on each side of the bed.
Hazard reported ahead. Get down!
And then you got Arnold watching out for your back, and then.
Yeah. Well, it's true. So for Joe, he hasn't been in the Rivian. I'm in the Rivian. I know people have probably you always brought the damn Rivian. Well, for me right now, somebody help me out here. As far as the electric truck market goes, I think Rivian's the only one per se competing against it right now. Chevrolet has theirs in the works, but I don't know if it's available.
GMC's is finally available.
Yeah, but I mean, okay, so you can buy one now?
I saw you can order it. I don't know if it'll if they're actually in showrooms yet, but I was on there. It's a nice truck, and the fact that I really like the flexibility of they took like they've had for years in like their crossovers where you can roll down the rear window. It's just a full partition.
Yeah, I know, it's really cool. Like the Tundra used to have.
Down, and then you have a full open cab.
Like the Avalanche used to be, the Chevrolet Avalanche.
And the old 4Runners used to be that way too.
Right.
But
yeah, so but at the same time, that truck's definitely going to be up there in the stratosphere of pricing.
Yeah, oh yeah. But it's a nice truck too. I mean, GMC does a nice job. All the beds already lined. They got all the extra features.
Well, it's interesting you bring up that because here's the thing.
I think that's a 400 mile, 500 mile truck.
400. I read about it. Yeah. But here's the thing. GM just announced yesterday that they're cutting back their EV, growth predictions that because of the battery challenge.
That's raw materials.
So yeah, they're already saying that they're not going to be able to meet their quota on what they thought they could build next year because it's the battery challenge. It's a never-ending lithium battery challenge.
What was the other truck that I've seen? Is it the Atlas? There's that one other
Volkswagen. It'd be a Volkswagen Atlas.
No,
Is the SUV.
There's that one other electric car coming.
There's Chevrolet Silverados. You get the Silverado and the GMC.
It's a boutique one. It's not one of the.
I don't know.
Majors.
I don't know about that. And of course, Elon's Cybertruck is just that. It's a cyber. It's on a computer, so it's cyber.
It's
right?
it's not a cyber truck now. It's a cyber boat. So now it's apparently able to ford water up to 9 feet or it's semi-submersible. Oh my God, who the hell knows?
Yeah, that'll catch on fire a few days later, like they do down in Florida, where all the electric vehicles that got submerged in salt water, they're just now catching on fire. I don't know if you know those stories or not.
Yep.
Yeah. So, but as far as to get features in the F-150 truck, if somebody's considering this versus a gas truck. So for you as an individual, and you're within reason of pricing, would you buy the gas over this?
If you're getting, all day long. As long as if you're using it as a work truck and you're going 100 miles a day, 200 miles a day, like all day long.
What, the electric or the gas?
The electric.
Yeah.
If you're hauling moderately, like small to medium equipment, they would work within 100 miles. But if you're the guy that's got like a 10,000 pound excavator or a 15K excavator, like obviously you need to go into the 250 or 350.
Right.
If you get like a backhoe, you could. A small homeowner, it works. The Rivian's the same. The Rivian's just so much smaller to think of it. Although they weigh similar, it's just you tow. It's to tow that much weight behind a vehicle that almost, tow something that weighs approximately twice what the vehicle weighs itself is very, it can be very nerve-wracking. You like to have the tow vehicle.
Well, that's a good point. So Joe took this truck down to what part of Maryland? Easton, Maryland?
Talbot County, Easton.
Yeah, so he took this truck over last week. He was gone doing some work down in the, southern Maryland area?
Eastern Shore.
Eastern Shore. And so how many miles one way is that?
It was 80.
80 miles one way. And when you got down that area, he came to find something out. Can I tell you what you figured out when you got down there? This truck has a 270 solid miles, so realistically you should be able to go down there and get back, but if you start driving around down there is where it starts getting a little more challenging. Right?
Well, that and it's like that 70 is a high hill, very hilly, high-speed highway, and that's where this truck will just eat up battery, any vehicle, honestly. But
you got down there, and then you got the recharge anxiety.
Yeah, recharge anxiety is the worst, I would say, by far. That's why it's an around town truck.
Right. So you were down there, and come to find out where he was, there's just no charging stations.
Well, they're very spread out, and there's a couple free ones that are
at the park
by, or the town or the park
or the library.
But they're a 3-hour maximum, and they're I didn't even think that one was the 75K.
I'd take all day.
And so there wasn't a single Electrify America, I think, until you got to, there might have been one in Ocean City, but they were all on the other side of the bridge. Basically, it looks like just the infrastructure of power has not been brought over into the island, basically.
So what'd you end up doing?
I just had to miser my power and keep an eye on it, and just make sure I had that enough mileage to get back to the Sam's where I knew I could get the charge that I needed.
And how much did that cost you?
It's $40.
So the trip cost you
a little over half charge.
So how many miles did you go total? Did you say from going down, running around, and come back home?
Maybe 200. Yeah.
That's it?
Yeah, it's not that far.
So, but I would think you would have got home.
Yeah, not on 70. Not coming back in on 70. 70.
So when you're coming back home, before you went to Sam's, how many miles did you have left?
Before I went to Sam's, I had like 25 or 35 miles.
That's it?
Yeah. But see, I had also burned up a little bit sitting just at the job site, just burning like the heated seats in the early mornings.
Yeah, I get you. Yeah. So, but the whole point is, if you drove a car down to where you went and drove back home, what would be your guess how much money you'd spend?
Probably almost about the same. Probably it's a half a tank down, a little over half a tank down, a little over back. So
yeah,
I haven't bought gas in a while though, so I don't even know what the price is. So it would probably be 60 or 70. So it'd probably be $20 more, I would bet.
Right.
But then it would have given me the flexibility not to have to worry. So.
Right. But now we were talking earlier about the truck. The reason I turned on my video is because when Joe had his true beginning to driving, he drove a Suburban.
Yeah.
His dad had a Suburban, Chevy Suburban,
Detroit diesel.
And he says in some ways that reminds him of that vehicle.
Yeah, it rides. I mean, it's that quintessential. Like I said, this truck rides more like a Suburban or a Tahoe to me. It just the center of gravity is much more in the center of the vehicle compared to your traditional truck, and it just kind of sponges down the road and just bouncing a little bit, but it's stiff enough to where you don't feel uncomfortable.
Would you ever recommend a woman?
Reported ahead.
Would you ever recommend a woman to own this vehicle to run around town doing shopping and everything?
Oh yeah, especially with the frunk, and if you got a tonneau cover, but man, you can fit so many freaking bags of shopping. You could have a hidden trunk. You could get home, and the husband thinks you just got what's in the bed, and then he goes away, and you open up the frunk, and you got a whole another $5,000 worth of shit. That's what draws the most people to this truck too. It's funny, out in public, when you're just working out of it, no one really comes and bothers you. But if you start working out of it and you need something out of the frunk and you leave the frunk open, people just kind of look at it funny, like, what the hell? Where's the engine? And then that's when they tend to come over and investigate and ask, is that thing all electric? Is always the first question.
Do people approach you and think that charging stations are free?
Well, I think people still think that, like, if you drive a Tesla, the charging station's free, a large majority, which I think if you're one of those original owners and you still own your original car, I think you still get free charging. That's Tesla. Yeah, Tesla. I think that's the limit, though. And I wonder, I mean, I don't even know this. What is the owner retention on Teslas in the first gen?
Well, that's a good point. Tesla, they're being investigated for their self-driverless capabilities, where I guess it's what the Department of Justice or SEC or somebody's now really looking into Tesla's, claims of these driverless cars, even to the point that Ford and Volkswagen just pulled out of a major investment that cost them billions in dollars. Ford just posted this yesterday about they're pulling out of Arlo or Argo, some company that is a designer of driverless technology, and they're pulling back. I mean, we were talking about this earlier in the morning in the office, that I think that the big executives are starting to see that designing these driverless cars is a huge liability on themselves. That that you may be in prison one day because you designed these vehicles where you sold a vehicle person, basically telling them that the car will drive you and no worries, and then something happens. Versus traditional sale of a car is you buy the car, the driving time is on you. We'll make sure the car is designed to be driven safely, but your driving habits are all on you, not on me. And I think now people are probably starting to think, wow, we're making cars that drive themselves, and if these cars do anything wrong, you as the company are now responsible for these actions. And I mean, think about it. If I'm a big executive right now, I'd be like, I do not want anything to do with me going to prison because of anything that goes wrong with one of these cars. So it's a huge, huge liability. You would think that they'd start having disclosures on purchasing these vehicles, and inside the car that you'd have to agree that you're waiving the manufacturer responsibility. I'll be amazed if down the road there isn't some lengthy disclaimer in your car that you got to push a button to agree to be driverless, and that the manufacturer's held harmless. I'll be amazed if that doesn't eventually happen.
I will say Ford they are very much like, it's almost a nuisance. If you're not, I can just even put it on for a second. It's 5 seconds. You can't take your eyes off the road for more than 5 seconds with Ford system. And it's you almost have to keep your head pretty dead center. And you can't be a driver that drives at 12 o'clock when you got it in hands or adaptive, because if you're a 12 o'clock driver, it's going to block the sensors and it's going to start screaming at you. So you gotta be a driver at like 10 or 8, 4 and 7 or whatever it is. I can't remember. 4 and 7, 4 and 8, whatever it is, under the wheel, or just a 6 o'clock driver. Because it'll start screaming at you, and then it'll start shaking the wheel.
Yeah, so right now you're technically in driver's, but you're leaving your hand on the wheel.
It's hands free, but I always have my foot on the pedal too. But
gets a little freaky.
If you go like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, let's just start.
I don't think it's gonna pick it up.
There, see,
there it is. So it was like 6 or 7 seconds.
Well, sometimes it takes a little longer to realize that your head's moved out of the frame, I think. But
right.
It is typically, it's fine.
But I think that what I've experienced myself with driving this hands-free technology is, if it's 2 o'clock in the afternoon and you're kind of in that midday kind of relaxed attitude, which that's kind of is the way our biological clock works, man, it just like seems like it creates the take a little nap as you drive down the road.
Oh yeah, that, or it can also make a bad driver a little bit better though too. Like if you just have it on in the background as a bad driver, it keeps you. I don't particularly like it because it forces you into the middle of the lane at all times, which to me is just it can be. I like to give everyone space on the road. So if I'm passing, I like to be closer to the center line. But it does know where it's at. But it does search too for those white lines. You get it hunting for them. It gets an uneasy feeling as well, especially with wider highways like 70 here. You'll find it S curving down the road because it can't get both white lines in frame at the same moment to know it's always in the middle, so it kind of gets a little uneasy. Especially, you've noticed that with the trailers, it gets very uneasy because that just starts to ripple through the trailer if you're towing. Right.
Yep. So overall, you would recommend the Ford F-150 to a person interested in an electric truck?
Oh, definitely. I would recommend, especially the quality. Like everything's the highest quality. The only thing I noticed was the hood so far was the only thing I noticed where they didn't set the stops on the hood properly, the frunk. So when it was closing, it was actually removing the paint from the underside of the hood against the stop because it was too much pressure.
Well, I thought you didn't like how you walk into it all the time. You walk into the corner of it. It's not the way the grill is designed, and you're the height of you end up poking your head.
It is. It should have been rounded. It is a very sharp corner there, and even not only like I told you a tall individual, but if you're even just a normal 5-foot individual and it's parked on a shoulder or curb, 6 or 8 inch curb, it's going to be right there in your face, and I will guarantee there will be someone out there that's going to cut their eye or cheek or face on that corner at some point. There's going to be an ER visit because of that. I can see it because it's almost caught me a half dozen times just working out of it already, at least.
Right. I can't believe we haven't gotten the windows tinted.
Yeah, I almost stopped by. They were pretty busy.
Well, if I call them, we'll get you in. All right, we're heading over to get the Ford Maverick. Follow us along on our Ford F-150 Lightning conversations and our visit to the Coons Baltimore Ford to pick up my carbonized gray Ford Maverick. All right, so there we are. There's the old Mustang, and we are pulling in. And did my sales guy get my vehicle set up for me? See the danger. I come here. Do I escape? Do I escape? There's a Bronco. And let's see if they have the truck parked down here. Not seeing it yet. Nope. So you gotta park somewhere else.
There you go. There's what you got, right? That's what you should be buying.
Yeah, I should. That's dangerous. Let's just see how much it is. Yeah, gee, thanks. Gee, thanks for pointing that out.
You haven't had one of those yet,
I know.
Gary.
Oh, I know that. I know. I mean, the danger is, yeah, let's see if it has a tag on it. Oh, it does. There you go. We were saved. Pennsylvania.
Yeah. Or is that the Mach-E?
I mean, there's no reason for you to stand around here all day.
Oh, yeah. I know.
There's your hybrid Maverick.
Is that a hybrid?
I don't know. What, you interested? Huh? No, you just drop here. I just stay here. I'll get out of the truck and walk across. You're good.
All right.
Look at all the business going on. I mean, so, yeah, dealers suck and win, right, Joe? Suck and win. Nobody here.
Oh, no one.
All right. So, yeah, we will. So here she is all cleaned up. And, you know, it's just hard to believe this thing has bigger tires on it. It's just a whole different stance. This is the truck here you could definitely like slam. This has all the right look. If you want to get really creative, this could be a really just a, you know, standout type of truck, if you know what I mean. All right, follow me along here as we get in the Ford Maverick 2022. We're all cleaned up. We've got a nice little rag down there for me, right? And let's just go ahead and start her up and check her out. Not like I already have one of these, right? You know what I mean? All right, get in and check her out. Let's see here. See what she does here. There she is. Yippee yahoo, right? Like, I don't have one of these, right? Yeah, right. Oh, all right. So we can't leave the dealership.
Here we go.
Can't leave. It figures. I come here, and what happens?
We gotta find something to trade, though.
Yeah. See, now it's all about. I got that, but now that's not good enough, right?
Yeah, I got it.
Did that start?
Yeah, we'll start.
See, this is the Antimatter F250 7.3 motor. Okay. Yeah. So, that looks like an old Expedition. So, yeah. What are we doing now, right? Yeah, well, yeah, I'd say if I did this, I'd have to really, I mean, I'm intrigued to drive the F250 gas because I haven't driven that. I just sold my F250 diesel Tremor, you know, because that thing's like 30 grand more than this thing is, since this is the gas engine. And it's not the Platinum. And look, Ford's in such challenging times that they don't have the little decals, or I should say the inserts. See this thing right here? So usually says like F250 Lariat. Well, they're hurting on their supply issues, and they can't get those. So this is like an unnamed truck. That's an Antimatter Blue, and I actually have wanted to get an Antimatter Blue truck. Question is, would this make any sense? Not really. I mean, there's no way this makes any sense. But for the heck of it, I'll drive it. It's too damn quiet. See, my last F350 Tremor, something I do like though is you got to have these retractable steps. See there? That's huge. Right there. The birds like this truck. They're in love with it. So this isn't going to have all the cool things my other one had, but definitely going to have, you know, the Tremor appeal. All right, let's check it out. All right, here we are. Yeah, man, this thing is so quiet. I mean, this thing has that 7.3 Godzilla motor, and you know, it's crazy how the the V6 twin turbo motor in the F150 Tremor truck, it has more torque than this truck does. I mean, maybe for 2022 they changed that. I do not think they did. I'd have to research that, but you know, for me, we'll give her a ride around. Does anything really come from it? I don't think there will. I mean, for me, you know, I'd really have to seriously think, what would I give up? What would I give up for this, really? You know, it's just, yeah, I've got such a quite a selection that, you know, I don't know. Well, here's the thing, okay. That deal, which I think that would be foolish, because that is so practical. And, yeah, I mean, can't see it, but you know what? I'm here picking up the car. I always like to just explore things. That's the idea. Driving down the road, the F250 suspension is just so much nicer than an F350. Now, see, this truck here, the thing that you feel in this truck is the gearing. It needs just a little better gearing, I think. Just, a little better gearing, it'd just be a whole different story, because I think you'd have a little bit more of that torque. And that's what I felt when I towed with this thing, was I felt the torque. You just didn't feel the torque. And that you'd really have to get into this thing. But anyway, so far, I mean, really, it is a really nice riding truck for being a 3/4 ton truck. I mean, it is quite impressive. Wow. Not shabby at all. But I wonder, for 2022, did they do anything to the motor? Did they increase the power or torque any? I don't think they did. Well, what's your guess? But, you know, great truck. I mean, that's one thing. But here's the thing. This is my criticism of the Ford product. It's this solid front axle that once you get out in the big road, it tends to walk a little bit more. And you know, and that's my complaint, is that the vehicle tends to have that walk more than my other vehicles I've owned, if you know what I mean.
Right.
So, yeah, man, it's a nice truck, that's for damn sure. And I mean, the good news is this truck is about 20 grand less than the last truck I bought, right or wrong.
Good news. Yep. That's right.
What is this truck, like 77 or 70? Yeah, 77, right?
It's 83, but 77 sticker. 78.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? The MSRP on 70.
Yeah, so yours
77 change, right?
Yeah, yours are 10 grand more, I think. More
well, the Platinums are like 90. They're like 90, 91.
Right.
So they're like 13 grand. Getting that. Yeah, really quiet. Let's go here now. Digital speedometer. Fuel economy, which you're not going to have that. 2.4. Yeah, I know the fuel economy. It's 10, 12. But the thing is, it runs an 87 octane.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to put this thing in the, you know, the higher octane to get things out of it, you know?
No super unleaded.
Right. So, and you know, she gets up good. I mean, she's a here's the thing of what I talked about when I first bought my first Tremor truck, was the gasoline engine is huge difference in the feel of this truck because it's lighter. So it's actually it has more of a free-spirited, fun factor drive to it.
Like a heavy
versus
150.
Well,
Like
yeah, exactly right. Yeah, good. And so like the F250 with the diesel engine, it's a really nice truck, but you really feel that diesel motor up in front of you. And that's the biggest thing that you kind of feel. But right now, it's really nice is we're hitting some pretty good bumps, and it's not putting it through my spine and my teeth. And that's what the F350 Tremor does. The F350 is so rigid. Yeah, really cool, dangerous. But, you know, it's just me thinking to myself, what makes sense out of this? You know, why would I go through the process of getting this vehicle? You know, what's going to come from it? That's the challenge. I have to come to closure in my head. Is, remember I talked about the other day in my conversations, is, you know, how do you process information for it to make sense the way you just decide to do? Yeah, when it comes to cars, yeah, my brain doesn't function properly. I'll just tell you that straight up. I'm not gonna, you know, you make excuses all day long. Yeah, right. Yeah, car addictions. But here's the thing: even if I was to buy this truck today, here I go again. I sell my Tremor truck. This would be the third. This would be the third Tremor truck purchased in the Super Duty series. It'd be the fourth Tremor truck, fifth Tremor truck, just Tremor truck purchase. Ranger truck, F-150 Tremor. You know, so as far as the Super Duty series goes, this would now be since 2020, March of 2020. Less than 2 years, I've bought a third Tremor truck, which that's just crazy.
All models.
Yeah, F350 gas.
2 Rangers.
Then,
trimmers, right?
yeah, I've now bought 3 Rangers.
3 Rangers trimmers.
Yeah, no, I only had 1 Ranger Tremor. The other ones were just, the Tremor wasn't available when I first got it. So the Cyber Orange, or the orange one I got from you, the Saber Orange. And, well, no, I got a Saber Orange from you, and I got a blue. And so the blue we traded last year, this past spring, past February, I gave you my other trucks for 2 Tremor trucks.
Yes, okay, now the Ranger Tremor blue.
Right, so you can't even keep track. I mean, so this past spring, you know, but the Tremor trucks hold such great value. You know, the diesel do, the gas not as much. So, but the diesel for sure. Everyone wants the diesel, but you know, the diesel's badass. It's great, but unless you're doing, I talked about this a gazillion times. Unless you're doing serious towing all the time, there's no reason to buy a diesel truck. I mean, the gas engine's more than enough. But if you want that diesel package, which that's what people want, that's what they buy. All right, so here we're on the open highway. Let's just go ahead and kind of see. You know, so far pretty good. She's not walking, so this is pretty good. But they do. I mean, I just know from trailing with these trucks, I just know they have a tendency to kind of move around. All right, so this have adaptive. So no adaptive on this one here, which that's kind of too bad, because adaptive cruise control is really a nice feature when you're going down the road on long road trips. You know, but this is a Lariat. It isn't a, you know, optioned out big time truck. No sunroof. So if right now it's no sunroof, that's $2,000. No adaptive cruise control, so that's at least $1,000, $1,500. There's $3,500. You know, that's just off the tip of my tongue of what would be added on, if you know what I mean. And then, right.
Heavy.
Yeah, that all the technology there, that'll all stay the same. So that'll be pretty dominant on that. So now we're 12.6. There it is. So this is a 12 mile per gallon vehicle. That's the reality. 12 miles per gallon. That's what you're gonna get. Now on the open highway, a little more bumpy, but not radical. But not bad. Hey there, back again on the continuation of Ice Age TV Maverick Day, and yeah, I'm back in the Maryland, Frederick area, heading back in. And yeah, what happened to the Ford Tremor F250 antimatter Lariat thing, right? Yeah, I just can't. That doesn't make any sense. Just can't make any sense out of that, you know. And am I just a nonsense guy? Yeah, I talk about common sense. Yeah, when it comes to the car stuff with me, yeah, common sense, right, yeah, my challenges of life, yeah. But anyways, nothing came from that, so, which, you know, I really just thought, hey, if anything, I really want to drive that truck just to kind of see the F-250 gas feel, and it really is, it's a nice package, but I think I'm just tremored out. I think I'm F2 tremored out. But here's the thing. So if you watch that video closely as I was driving out, what did you see sitting there in the far lot? Yeah, the F450. Yeah. Do you want to know that story? Oh my gosh. So if that story is to be told, yikes. Oh man, just there's a lot going on. I gotta get packed up to go to Tennessee. So for me, I'm out of time. Yeah, I'm looking at time. I literally got to get back in. Got to get the truck and trailer hooked up. The motorcycle's out. The motorcycle's loaded, strapped down. Blah blah blah. You've probably seen my videos before. Get my gear. Yeah. It's a lot of work. And then my daughter is just so wanting to go to the horse tonight to ride, which then it turns into a long night. If we do that, we can get into Tennessee till probably 1 in the morning at best, maybe 2, and then it turns into, do we just wait till tomorrow? I don't know. Just, trying to keep everybody happy in life, it ain't easy. And it costs money too. So anyways, the Maverick here is just such a great vehicle. Oh, and then I got the deal. I just got a $3,500. So on Ford Accessories website, if you want to buy a snug top Maverick, top, fiberglass top for your vehicle, then they list it for like $34.99. And yeah, you can probably get a discount. You can. But at the end of the day, you're going to spend a good $3,000. So one of my other selling dealers just confirmed that this is a red hot pepper red top, and they'll let it go for $1,000. So I'm like, wow. I actually thought they probably want to get like $1,700-$1,800 out of that thing, maybe even $2,000. In all sincereness, I thought they'd probably be asking like $2,000 for it. So it's like, oh my gosh, how do I resist that? Yeah, so talk about wow, beyond wow. So yeah, I told him I want it. Good Lord, how can I go wrong with that? I'd like to put it on the truck, but for the record, I really wanted to try to sell it. That isn't why I bought it, but oh my gosh, how did that play out, right? Yeah, so that's next week's project. I'll share the video of that, of me putting a snug top on my leather Maverick. But this Maverick here, this thing is so much fun. I kind of wish I had 1,000 miles of this damn thing, because I'd probably take it to Tennessee with my trailer. Yeah, I'd rather do that, really. So what am I using to go to Tennessee with, right? Yeah, I should take the Ram 3500 truck down, or take the Raptor down. I don't know yet. So we'll kind of see how that plays out. But beautiful day here, so appreciate everybody watching my channel. And the Ford Maverick, I could talk all day long about how great it is, which it really is. It really is a great vehicle, and I just can't emphasize enough how I can't see anybody that buys one of these to be unhappy. Only reason you can see being unhappy is if you're, a guy that's really working out of the truck and you're gonna need more room. If you're really working out of the truck and you need, a little heavier towing capacity, or you need, just more room. That would be it. Otherwise, you're just doing HVAC work, plumbing work, lawn work. There's just so many things that you can do with this truck, and just so comfortable, and it just really is a great vehicle. And for the money, bang for a buck. So anyways, hope my YouTube channel today helped you out, because we did the electric F-150 Lightning electric truck, a little talk about that, and hopefully that kind of give a little more insight on that. And then you got to ride around with me being my goofy self wanting to buy something else, which I really just couldn't get excited. And yeah, the F450 truck deal, yeah, I don't know. Jesus Christ, for me, even me, it's like, are you kidding me? Yeah, I don't disagree, right? So stay tuned for more adventures and the motorcycle weekend ahead of us, because down there in Tennessee, it's supposed to be beautiful weather. Really nice riding weather. So I'd kind of like to get down there tonight, because that gives us Friday, Saturday to play around. If we leave tomorrow, it just gives us Saturday to play around, and that just turns into a very short weekend, because we spend the day driving down Friday, then we're heading back Sunday, so it's a very short duration of time. So we'll see how it plays out. So thanks again for watching Ice Age TV.